Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Here we are at 6:14 a.m. Central Standard Time, February 2nd, 2019. Daylight is coming into play here. I see a little bit of daylight, mostly dark. All right, so this morning we have from 1934, Royal Canadian. This is a 375 milliliter bottle. I have a little bit left. But I have another bottle, a full-size bottle that I'm going to use in future taste challenges. So I was able to get a good deal on that at Discount Depot, $8.99 for one bottle. This one I got for $5. Not the greatest deal, but I had never seen Royal Canadian, so I jumped on it. This is age, I guess the minimum. There's no age statement. It's a Sazerac brand. Used to not be, but it was one of those acquisitions. I don't see any fresh bottles around here though. Okay, this is from years ago. I think it's a bottle from let's see. I don't know. All right, but it's not current. It even has an old glass design. Like the glass has bubbles in it and everything. It's like they had a bunch of old glasses left over and they used it. Distilled under supervision of the government of the Dominion of Canada, blended Canadian whiskey. Frankfort, Kentucky. So that's at the Buffalo Trace Distillery. So it looks like Buffalo Trace might have had some old bottles. Could have been from the 1950s. They might have had thousands, and they just said, we're using them. You know, we're not wasting these bottles, which makes sense. Glass, you know, clean them. All right. Now we're going to go up against a more modern whiskey in a PET glass, whatever that stands for, some plastic something. It's Caliber Premium Canadian. And Caliber, and they only come in plastic bottles. Don't you love the sound of plastic? There's the crown. You know, I'm sure when Queen Elizabeth, the Queen of Canada, visits, she's probably drinking Caliber. Well, probably not. Okay, well, anyway, I did find out it came out in 2004. A smooth and mellow blend from our master distillers. Canadian whiskey with natural flavors. So it's going to have that Canadian limited, rich and rare flavored thing, whereas the Royal Canadian does not. So they're not going to taste the same. Bottled by IWA Distilling Company Limited of Louisville, Kentucky, which is Sazerac. Somebody said it's International Wine Associates. It might be, but that's a Sazerac brand, okay? Here's what and it's got this nice little pouring cap built in, which makes it very convenient to pour, I have to admit. Kind of nice. That was $5.96, okay, at Walmart. I don't have enough Royal Canadian. Hold on a minute. Time to make the transition. Okay, you may have heard me clinking all those bottles in the other room because I was trying to grab it. Sorry for the delay. Yorn says, cheers, Ron. And Hayes says, good morning, Ron. Good morning. Good morning to you guys. We have 4 people watching now. One thumb up, 1 thumb down. Okay. Imported Royal Canadian. Here's the 750. All right. You can see it's that Sazerac bottle with that lip. That's the Sazerac standard. Now the plastic is different. That Traveler, they call it. I don't think the new ones say distilled in under supervision of the government of the Dominion of Canada. It's a little different, but because that's kind of like an antiquated term. You don't hear them say Dominion of Canada anymore. And this is a 2009 bottle. Okay, I bought all this and the other bottle I saw. There were 2 of these at Discount Depot. And the flask bottles, the 375s, those 2 bottles were at Ali and Sons. Those were $5. Well, they're actually $5.99. And I said, I'm not paying $5.99. So he relented and let me get it for $5 even. And then this was $8.99 at Discount Depot. But both of these instances, the 4 bottles, 2 small, 2 big, were on the west bank of the Mississippi River. Along the big bottles were on US Highway 90 business route, the main highway on the west bank in Louisiana. And the future Interstate 49, but we'll be 100 years old when that happens. And the other ones were on Louisiana Highway 18, the old 90. Okay, so that was the old Highway 90, the old Spanish Trail back in the 1940s and 50s. Okay, so I'm thinking that Royal Canadian was always a West Bank distribution. It was never east of the Mississippi River in this area. And then it was discontinued and there's a few lingering bottles. I don't mean discontinued around the country. It's still made. I'm talking about over here. Okay. Anyway, I secured it. I got it. Now, Caliber is at all the Walmarts here because Walmart sells liquor in Louisiana. At first, I thought Caliber was a Walmart private label. And it's a line of liquor. It's not. They're talking about the down, but maybe the Donald. No, if Donald Trump, he would like, well, Donald Trump doesn't believe in alcohol, drinking alcohol, so he'd probably give it a thumbs down. All right, now, so there's Caliber schnapps, there's Caliber spiced rum, there's Caliber gin, there's Caliber Canadian whiskey, there's Caliber, so on and so on and so on. So my impression is that it was a Walmart label produced by Sazerac for them. But no, I see that it's for sale. You can buy it in Iowa at liquor stores, which are not affiliated with Walmart. You can buy it in Minnesota at a liquor store, not affiliated with Walmart. So I have to retract that. It is not. It's probably mainly produced for Walmart, but not exclusively. So I have to. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'll admit that. I've been wrong before in videos, and I'll admit it. I'm not too proud to say, oh, well, no. Some people just can't admit, if they're wrong. They're not going to admit it. Appearance. Well, the same color, light amber. Are these colored with caramel color? Oh, probably so. Would they get this dark in 3 years? Oh, well, they might. But the problem is it's a used barrel, see? A used charred barrel is a second run or a third run barrel. You're going to run into problems, you see, where it's not going to pick up as much color. So that's why they add the caramel color. And you can learn about that by looking at this very informative video from Canadian Mist, the Brown-Forman brand. It's like a You got to have a long time. It's like 45 minutes, but it goes on and on about, well, there's two videos. One is the history of Canadian mist. It was a presentation at a library in Canada, public thing. And then the other one is a video at their distillery in Collingwood, Ontario, Canada. And he talks about how it's like taking a tea bag and you use it the first time, you get a lot of flavor. But then if you use it the second time, it's going to be so much lighter and blander. There's not going to be much there. He said that's the intention of Canadian mist. It's like a used tea bag, making tea with a used bag. You say, well, why would somebody like that? Some people just like that very low profile taste. I call it bland, dull, and boring. Other people like it. They're still getting the 80 proof. Gentleman Jack from the same company is a similar concept. A basically watered down Jack Daniels, run through the filter, the column of charcoal a second time, but yet they charge a lot more for it. It's like a premier item. So it's very clever to use to really, in a way, take an inferior product, but sell it at a premium price. And people like it. They say, I love that Jack Daniels Gentleman Jack. Hey, look, you know, if people want to buy it, that's fine. I've tried a 1 ounce of it, but I've never had a real proper sample. People ask me this every day of my life, I think. What is your favorite beer, Ron? Jorn, I have no favorite beer, okay? I just cannot think of one that is my favorite. I have no favorite wine, no favorite liquor, okay? And I'm not being cheeky or ugly when I say that or offhand about it. I just don't have a favorite one. I think this will not be much of a challenge because I think the Royal Canadian is going to have a straight standard whiskey aroma and flavor, and the caliber is going to have that flavored whiskey, flavored with it's not a liqueur though, it's of actual Canadian whiskey because it's flavored with other distilled spirits, rum, brandy, American bourbon, and aged wine of any sort. If you read the Canadian government regulations, it's wine that's has to be aged in wooden vessels. Okay, so they're strict about certain components of their blend, but they give a lot of leeway within those restrictions. It's like American bourbon. The restrictions are strict, but there's much leeway within those guidelines. All right. The next challenge will be on Tuesday morning. That's the schedule. So in 2 days. And it's going to be against Canadian Crest, I believe, from 2004, right? Or is it 87, 1987? I get mixed up with these dates. That is a store brand for the Albertsons stores. So Caliber from 2004, Royal Canadian from 1934, and Caliber Canadian Crest from 87. Here we go. Got to get going on this. All right, this has got to be. Now, my daughter did not like the Royal Canadian when she tried it. First thing she said, if you watched the video, was ugh. But then she admitted as the video went on, she said, well, it's not bad. She had to admit it wasn't bad. She just found it was so bland. She said, I'm not used to this kind of whiskey. She drinks bourbon. And so that's her framework. You know, she only operates within that mindset of bourbon. So Scotch, oh no, she didn't care for that too much. She's got that Clan McGregor bottle. She'll probably never finish it. And I was like, why don't you just give it to me if you're not going to finish it? And she said, why would you give somebody a whiskey and then want it back? I said, it's nothing like that. It's the fact that I don't want it to waste. You see what I'm saying? You're right. It's improper to give somebody something and want it back. Okay, but I'm saying you don't want to see people waste the stuff, okay? Now, I brought some beer to a party once to watch a bowl game, LSU and Clemson, and the people said, take it back, take it back. I said, well, you're not supposed to do that. And they said, well, we're never going to drink it. We're just telling you the truth. It's going to waste. So I took it. They only drink Bud Light. So I mean, yeah, I mean, there was no purpose in it sitting in their fridge going stale, setting in their fridge going stale, and you're not gonna drink it. This is the flavored one here. Yeah, if they aren't going to use it, they should give it up. Right. I would. If somebody brought me a bunch of Coca-Cola, I'd say, why don't you take the Coca-Cola home? Oh, no, it's for you. Well, I'd say, no, I'm not going to drink it. And I'm not going to have enough visitors over here in time to drink it before it goes stale. So I would tell them, take it. So this smells like the flavored stuff, that nutty almond, like John Anile calls it, almond extract thing. Yeah. Okay, my friend David didn't like, he said, smell like and taste like black licorice, which I don't agree with that, but that's what he thought. It was unusual to him. Okay. Yeah, you see, this is just like straight grain whiskey. Similar to what you would experience with Black Velvet. Okay, so it's very similar to Black Velvet in the aroma. Just grain alcohol, grain whiskey, some rye whiskey, corn, and maybe wheat. Okay, so it's that thing. So I'm telling you already, this is Royal Canadian and this is Caliber. Which one's better? Okay, we're going to taste it right now. It's kind of chilly this morning, 51 degrees. Not cold, obviously, but chilly. Oh, go walking a mile and a half today. Never is. It's going to get up to about 65. Cloudy, damp. It's the dampness here. I've talked about this endlessly. It just is. It's just damp. The humidity in the air makes the slightest bit of coolness feel cold. People talk about England, and I feel like this is similar to England. But England, I know, is much colder. So it's worse. All right. But the humidity level in Louisiana is, I've never experienced it anywhere. Not in Miami. Close. It's close, but it's not at this level. The only place I've ever been to that had humidity close to this was probably Washington, D.C., because they're in a basin and the air seems so still. I think it's just that the air is still. Oh, the heat in July in D.C. is terrible. Oh, it's rough. Yeah. One thing about the Canadian, Royal Canadian, you pick up a lot of wood char. Charred wood and the rye spice. Man, it tastes so much like a Buffalo Trace product. I know it's only bottled at Buffalo Trace. But it just has that house style, house character. I remember when we tried Blanton's at my friend David's old house. He said, "What do you think?" I didn't know what to make of it, but I said, "It tastes like a fancy Buffalo Trace." And then he started thinking about it. Yeah, yeah. He says, "Yeah, that's what it tastes like." That was funny. Now the price is not the same. Royal Canadian, $8.99 a bottle. Caliber, $5.96. I mean, it's up to you if you like the natural flavors, and they are natural flavors. They are actual gin, not gin. Wrong on there. I don't think they use that, but they use just distilled spirits, brandy, rum, bourbon, and then the wine, which to me it tastes like sherry wine. They're using some kind of blending sherry, more than likely. I get that impression. Now, to me, it's a nice flavor. To John and Illy, it is not nice, but that's neither a correct nor incorrect assessment. It's what you prefer, what you like. I know people that don't like tomatoes. I can't say, well, you're bad. You don't like tomatoes. Your taste is bad. No, they don't like them. I know a lady, I tease her at work. I say, you hate onions, but you love onion rings. And she laughs. I know, right? Hayes says, I usually prefer rum or whiskey, but I also like gin. Yeah, if they aren't going to use, okay, they're talking about. All right. Now, which of these do I prefer? Well, it's hard to say. I think in quality, it's a straight up tie, honestly. It's just a tie. One of these is not better than the other. So who would win? Obviously, the caliber would win, 596. Then you have the plastic bottle. And a lot of people like the Whiskey Scout, for instance, don't like the plastic bottles and they won't deal with them. James P. Madonna in New Jersey will not deal with a plastic bottle. I don't like them too much, but it doesn't offend, you know, I'm not put off by it as much as they are, although I prefer glass. So if you're only looking at price, and the quality is the same, so yeah, go with caliber. No. So we have no winner or loser today. But I think I might prefer the Royal Canadian. It just has more of that standard whiskey, even a bourbon flavor, not prolifically bourbon. You know, I had the Woodford Reserve the other day. That was deep, rich, heavily charred wood and a lot of corn, yellow corn grits and all that, which I didn't mention in the video, but all that. This is just a much lighter approximation of it. But it is there. Has more flavor than Canadian Mist, which doesn't take a lot of effort to do that. Canadian Club is definitely a flavored Canadian whiskey from what I'm tasting, because you can pick up a lot of that honeycomb and that sweetness. It's got to be coming from some flavor in there added. Does it bother me? No, because I like Canadian Club. But this is more standard, old school whiskey taste. I just drank a lot more beer than spirits. Yeah, well, that's a good idea. I'm not sure how you always review so many bottles of whiskey, since it takes me a while to finish one bottle. Oh, well, that's the thing. I'm just doing little sips. I'm going around the circles, like putting them all in a circle. Like imagine putting every liquor I have in a circle, and you're taking little sips as you go around. So over time, what happens? The bottles, the amount in each bottle drops, just like that Royal Canadian. Then I got down to the end. I didn't even have enough for enough to make a good taste challenge. So I bought the Royal Canadian glass because it was there. It was inexpensive, and I said I can use this in the challenges. So it's, and I like the fact that it's a brown bottle. Most of the Sazerac whiskeys are not brown; they're glass, clear glass. I like the brown bottle. I think it protects it better. So Sazerac bought 19 brands from Diageo last year, including Seagram's VO, Seagram's 83, Seagram's 5-star, which I think is only sold in Canada, those two. And I noticed on the Sazerac website, they're still listing the Seagram's VO Gold, which Diageo told me was discontinued in 2017. But remember, that's an 8-year aged whiskey, so they've got a backstock, probably an incredibly large backstock, and they'll keep supplying that to Sazerac until it dissipates, and then they'll cut it out. Unless you say, yeah, I know what you're about to say. Unless Sazerac wants to revive it. Yes. Same here, laugh out loud. Beer is more culture. I don't know what that means. Beer is more culture. Seagram 7 is decent. Yes, the best blended whiskey I've tried, American blended whiskey. Easily the best. Easily the best. But Diageo didn't sell the 7 Crown. They kept that because that's a big seller, you know. That's a top flight money maker, right? VO does well, but it kind of has deteriorated relative to 40 years ago. So Sazerac said, we'll pick it up and try to do something with it. So Diageo just kind of cast it off. Then, come to find out, this year, 2019, Sazerac picked up 19 more brands, 19 more liquor brands from a company called Black Star and something Industries from New York. So they did 19 and then 19 more. I mean, these people are on a buying spree, right? Hey, does Sazerac need to be careful? Or are they going to run into debt problems? I don't know. It's really not my problem. They're building this big museum in New Orleans, this Sazerac Showcase Center. I don't know. Mr. and Mrs. William Goldring own the company personally. There's no board of directors. They personally own it. It's a proprietorship. It's not a corporation. It's the Sazerac Company. All right. I don't even think it's a corporation. But anyway, so this is Royal Canadian. Let me look. I'm kind of freaking out because it said caliber at the bottom of the glass. I'm like, what? I know I didn't pour the wrong thing in the wrong glass. What is your favorite beer, Hayes? Now they're talking to each other. $10 a bottle. Seagram 7 Crown is about $12 a bottle here. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do a little re-challenge of a challenge right now. You're saying that's just your excuse to drink. No, it really ain't. It really ain't. I'm just a little concerned because this says caliber, but it tastes like standard whiskey without flavor, and so it's got me a little nervous. All right, so let's just see. Let's see. No, I'm not going to pour a lot. Just a little bit. This is about how much you get at Jack Daniels when you pay you $17 to go on a tour. They say, here, you can try Gentleman Jack. And you look at the glass and you say, what? The glass, the little plastic thimble is what they put it in, that little plastic thimble. And you feel so insulted because it's like, wait a minute, I paid 17 bucks for this tour. This is what I get. Are you kidding me? Then you go to Buffalo Trace, owned by Sazerac, right? Man, the tour is free. It lasts longer. There's less hokey, fake hometown Southern guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's less of a show. Although that guy did kind of put in some corny jokes. Like, I'm saying, oh, I bet you say that every tour. But at the end of the tour, the liquor is flowing. They're saying, try this rum. It's called Wheatley. We make rum here. Vodka. And they're saying, try this bourbon, try that bourbon, try this bourbon, try that bourbon, try this bourbon. And they're like, well, look, you're driving, so we don't take responsibility for this. And then they're like, you want to try some candy, some bourbon-filled chocolate candy with almonds or pecans? Try this, try this. So I was like, wow, that's the difference between generous and stingy. Okay, I'm just calling it like I'm seeing it. Let me try this again. So, and then Barton 1792, another Sazerac distillery, same thing. It's free, and they're not stingy with the samples. There's one in Virginia, Bowman Distillery. It's a craft distillery. Same thing, free, ain't stingy from what I've read. I'm gonna try to go there one day. Okay, let's do this one more time. I said it wasn't gonna be any challenge, and here I am discombobulated and throw it off. Okay. All right. Yeah. Funny thing about these, they both have that strong undercurrent of corn whiskey, grain alcohol. Well, that's all right, because what do you think it is? That's what it is. That's why it's $5.96 a bottle. Oh, baby. All right. I think think what happens with these is the more you're drinking on them and letting them breathe, the flavors are blending together. You know what I'm saying? Like the initial hit, you get that Canadian flavored whiskey thing, and it's like, whoa, honeycomb, candy, cotton candy above, honey. But then as you're sipping on them, it's sort of like they merge together. And I don't think it has anything to do with, oh, you didn't take sips of water, you needed some blue cheese to eat on a crack. It's none of that. It's none of that. It's just that as they breathe and you swish them and you drink them, now I remember that initial flavor thing dies away, and then it just tastes like whiskey, so it can kind of throw you off, throw you for a loop, knock you for a loop. You say, nah, it's the liquor, you're getting drunk. No, it's the tasting. I'm talking about the taste. Dr. Frosty Bruce says, do you drink soda? Oh no, I can't stand soft drinks anymore. I feel good now that I don't drink soft drinks. Left Hand Brewing makes a nitro stout I really like, and also a nitro coffee porter. I've been buying a lot of those. Oh yeah, the Left Hand Brewing nitro, and then the Wake Up Dead nitro, those were dynamite. They don't really foam up like they should with, like you get with a Guinness draft, but they're very good. Okay. See, in my mind, which is connected to your senses, right? In my mind, I think this is the Royal Canadian. Here's the key. I think this is the key to the riddle. If you're doing this, a non-flavored, probably, versus a flavored, whatever, you want to do it quick. Don't do all that talking, because then the flavors are going to merge and you're not going to be able to tell them apart. I think you will find the coffee porter better than the milk stout. I might. I like both coffee, milk. Okay, I had 3 cups of coffee with milk this morning. Okay, here we go. I think this is Royal Canadian. It is Royal Canadian. See, so there's the key. There's the key for this. Initially, the flavors are quite different, and the aromas. But as the products breathe, and that's the key, because whiskey changes when it breathes, and you swish it, and it releases whatever chemical reaction thing happens, then the flavors will start to merge and become less differentiated. And then you get the feeling you're just drinking Sazerac Canadian imported whiskey bottled in America. So there you go. You say, well, at the end of the day, does it really matter? And the answer would be obvious. No, it does not. We're talking about inexpensive economy brand, if you want to use the term bottom shelf, which actually at Walmart, it's not on the bottom shelf, the caliber, believe it or not. But the Royal Canadian was on the bottom shelf at Discount Depot. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of like flipping a coin, and heads you'll drink Canadian, Royal Canadian, and tails you'll drink Caliber. But another thing I have to mention before I get off, and I think I should talk about this for a moment, they're both pretty good. They're pretty dang good. Honestly, they're pretty good. So if somebody would tell you, don't drink that, that's rot gut, that's a bunch of garbage. You don't want to drink that. Drink some real Canadian whiskey. Drink Crown Royal. Now, yes, I do intend to do a Crown Royal video, and yes, I do intend to start getting into Crown Royal, but I'll get caught up in that. You see, that'll be like a whole nother channel almost. There's so much variety there. But some people claim, and I can't attest to that because I haven't really experienced Crown Royal, aside from a short little tasting. Some people claim that it really isn't much better than the cheapos. It's all marketing, name recognition, and all that. Now, I don't know if that's true. It's a beautiful bottle. I got to give them that. And if they do marketing and that makes a difference, they do damn good marketing. Excuse my language. You know, Crown Royal has a fantastic marketing approach. You got to give them that. And they have the cachet that these two would obviously not have. But I do intend to bring that into play. and I'm going to call it like I see it. If Crown Royal is way, way better, I'll say it. If it's only marginally better, I'll say that. And if it's no better, I'll say that. With Seagram's 7 Crown blended whiskey, it's way better than the other American blended whiskeys. It's not even close. I'm saying it, right? So if I'm going to drink an American blended whiskey, and I really don't intend to buy any more, I think I've done enough of that. I have the bellows left. I'm going to buy 7 Crown because it kills the rest. I mean, it's obviously better. All right, anyway, so that was interesting. A little bit troubling, though. A little bit troubling, but interesting. Next up is Canadian, Caliber Canadian versus Canadian Crest. I think that's going to be a dead tie. We're talking about the same price. Canadian Crest is $5.99 at Albertsons. Caliber is $5.96 at Walmart. We're talking about a 3-cent difference. But in reality, I don't think the difference is going to be 3 cents. You see what I'm saying? So you may as well just buy the cheapest one. All right, well, whatever. And then plus with Canadian Crest, at least you're getting glass instead of the plastic, which is aesthetically not too enjoyable. Anyway, thanks for watching this video production.